indeed, y'all. Yes, indeed. Welcome to UDR Productions. Please like, subscribe, and share. It doesn't cost you nothing to subscribe, so we can keep bringing you guys all this good content from prayer to streets. UDR Productions. Let's go and let's get it.
Yes indeed, y'all. You are now watching the MVP, most viable, poetically correct show. So let's go.
What's up? Good evening once again. You listen to your boy MVP, most viable poet, being poetically correct. The proud dying of radical black Puerto Rican man of God from the Bronx when life started. Currently reside in Bpt CT. Now, before I introduce to this amazing guest right next to me, I want to just promote a couple of things. Number one, anyone that's looking for like pasta, seafood, some nice solid chicken wings, wine, Murphy lost the spot, and also too, East Coast porn. Anyone that's looking for like cell phones, game consoles, gold diamonds, you're gonna get a nice discount. So the location's on 76 Millway Avenue, and it's in Bristol, Connecticut, 06610. And once again, East Coast porn. You know, they buy gold. You know, they sell all types of technology, electronics, and so forth. So anytime you mention UDR Productions Go Love Team at that location, you get a discount. So I want to give a shout out to East Coast porn once again. So before we get into tonight's topic, I want to first and foremost give an honor, shout out, and glory to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you, God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. For without you, nothing happens. Nothing. No ifs, ands, or maybes. So with that being said, I want to introduce a cool, amazing brother right next to me. His name is Brother Roland. Give an introduction, sir. Introduce yourself to folks.
Yo, what's up? My name is Roland Woodley. I'm right here from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I've been out here most of my life, all my life really. And I'm just here, I'm just blessed and glad that they gave me the chance to, tell my side or just give out input the best I can.
Absolutely, and I think the most important thing about it is that, like I said before, and I said this again, this is a platform to give people an opportunity to be a powerful voice to the community. And like I said, though, it's not about me once again, it's about giving shout and glory to God, to my Lord, for making this all possible, and it's about really bringing squares to the conversation for tonight. So, I know you and I was talking briefly before we got to tonight's discussion, so let's bring this to the forefront. I know you mentioned about that you work with the youth just like I have for a long period of time. Let's start by saying this. Talk about the importance, the essence of what does it mean to have mentorship among young people, especially to be around someone that can identify with what they're going through, their struggles, and just relating to them where you're not trying to be like them, but you can identify of what the barriers are and then showing them that there's a way out. So what does that mean to you as far as mentorship? And let's kick it from there.
Well, like I was saying earlier, there's nothing, in my opinion, better than a mentor that can give the feedback where he came from to the kid that's where he at now.
Right.
I believe wholeheartedly for myself that if you go back 20 years, 30 years, truthfully, I didn't have nothing. I looked for something and I didn't have it. So what happened was, as I got older, there was nothing but something I made a forest. I started looking for the wrong things. So now, forefront, I put forth what these kids want and trying to get, because it's out here for us. It's 2020, and the opportunity that we have is amazing, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
For me, I'm a big fan and an advocate and an activist when it comes to mentorship, for the simple fact that there's a gap that needs to be brought together amongst the adults that's been around for a long time, that can relate and can acknowledge and can identify with the struggles that young people are desperately needing and seeking. And when there's no mentorship involvement, then guess what? The streets raise them, and a lot of times it gets toxic to the point that it becomes bad. It becomes a bad influence for them. It gets to a point that it becomes very just negative as far as just the energy, the vibes, just the temptation, what they're being lured into. So I'm big on the fact that we have to galvanize and inspire young people and maximize their full potential and show them that there's a way out. Yeah, because the excuses is over.
Yeah, in my opinion, there's no excuses. I tell my children that all the time. But I also think when you're in a mentorship, you can't, in my opinion, you can't tell a child this is what he needs and this is what he wants. You have to meet an individual where he or she's at. You can't go, well, I did this and I did that, so therefore this is the way it is. No, you got to meet where that child was at. Now, y'all may come from the same area growing up, but it's 10, 15 years later. So a lot of things change. And you got to see who's in that individual life. Because if you don't, you will never have a true understanding of that child. So when I deal with my individuals I deal with, I don't try to tell them what they need to do. I show what I need to do, and they fall suit for the most part.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, if you tell them, you know, by telling them what to do, they're not going to get it, for one. Number two, they're not going to listen to you because they're going to look at, oh, just another lecturer just trying to just, you know, pour out lectures as per se, or not even involve teaching. But I believe that you have to meet them where they're at. Meaning, like, you have to understand the dynamic of what does their setting look like? What has been their history as far as their life? What is it that they had to endure in their young life in terms of the endurance, the hardships there, the barriers that they have to overcome? And when they see that you are invested into their life, and it's from the heart and soul, and it's genuine, and it's authentic, they're going to receive what you're saying because they see that you're investing that time into their life. So talk about how important it is, because I'm a big fan of that you have to invest time, not money as per se, or not any kind of financial gains, but really invest the time, because that's one thing you can never take back is time. Right. So talk about how important it is for you to just really invest that time to a young person's life and plant that seed for them.
Like I said, I think it's very important to not just invest that time, but listen to what that child is saying. Listen to what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Don't just watch and say, well, this child or whatever, he has no guidance. You gotta actually listen, see his moves, see what he wants or she wants. I was just talking to somebody just called me today about a young lady who I was mentoring, and she was saying like the girl is lost. I said I understand that. But in the same token, we got to see where she's at. We got to see why she's getting high. We got to see why she's coming outside with just a bra and shorts on. We got to understand what's going on. We got to see why she's yelling at her mother. It has to be something there that's causing that. So I feel that it's very, very important to listen to the youth and also learn. You also have to learn from the youth as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways also too, though. I believe that yes, listen to the youth as far as understanding what they're going through, but they also have to listen to the older folks too that's been around the game for a long time. The Bible says respect the elders, and there's been a lack of respect in that regard, and I feel like young people need to also respect the elders too, because when there's a lack of respect, that's where there's a lot of conflict. But when there's some mutual understanding in terms of what you're trying to aim for as far as goals that's attainable, that you can walk this journey together, then you get more accomplished, because now what's been said, you're conveying it, you're listening, because that's how you get to know, by listening, by understanding what they're conveying, and like really bring forth the efforts for us. Okay, let's continue to figure things out. Right. Let's continue to maximize your full potential and how great you can be. So yeah, go ahead.
So when you talk about respect, right? Mm-hmm. First of all, in my opinion, these young kids don't know what respect is, and that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Why? And I always say that they don't understand a lot of things because of my fault. Now, I didn't have every child, but dudes watch me grow up and see what I became.
Right.
I lost it somewhere. I was always respectful, but I didn't show the way. So when you look at a friend of mine and she says to another dude, I'm gonna get my son after you. So we lose something there as parents, as me personally.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
We lose something there. So when we try to be the children's friends and not being parents, they don't have an understanding. So we actually got to look and see what's going on with that child and why he don't have or she don't have an understanding of that disrespect. Because they say, well, he said something to me, so I said something to me. I said something to him. So that doesn't mean you got to lash out or try to shoot or stab somebody. Have an understanding of both of y'all. A lot of times, even back in the day, man, they put the old against the young and stuff like that. And that's, I didn't mean to cut, but that stuff goes on. You know, it goes on, it goes on. And I just think, as a people, we have to come together and listen. And you know, I might keep saying that. I might be sounding repetitive, but that's the one of the best keys I can say in my life. Oh, my favorite. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it goes down to this. I think it's about not being a child's friend as specific, because that's one of the problems that I see is that you got too many parents being a child's friend. No, this is why I am an authority figure. You are a child. At the end of the day, if I'm the one paying the bills, I'm the one hearing the law, you have no say, because you got to respect that in itself. Yeah. Now, in terms of how to, every child is going to represent something different, because the dynamic personality, different backgrounds, and so forth. I get that part. But you cannot lose the fundamental aspect of respect, where if I'm the adult and you're the child, you respect me. Now, I agree with this part. Now, a child watches, because a child I look at is like the watcher, we're being watched. So they emulate and watch what we say, how we conduct ourselves, and if we come across a certain way that's detrimental, they emulate that. Yes. So we gotta be responsible as adults. So I believe that, you know, we have flaws, yes, but it's inexcusable not to correct that and let a child know, you know what, I said something wrong, I apologize. Just like, you know, a child, if they say something wrong, they always say, yo, my bad, I apologize. So that comes from having that understanding from the beginning. And whatever it is that's being established from the beginning, you gotta be consistent throughout. Because like I said, kids are gonna try you no matter what. But you gotta be the backbone as far as that kind of relationship, as far as from a parent to a child, from a mentor to a student, because they're gonna watch how you do, how you conduct yourself, how you just carry yourself on a day-to-day. So it's very important to like really establish that from the beginning, because I'm big on boundaries. Right. You know what I mean? So that's
so we think about boundaries, right? Yeah. I feel you should never break when you're dealing with a child. You should never break, no matter what it is. I deal with kids all the time. A couple years ago, a kid hit me in my face. Right? And I looked at her as a child. She doesn't know no better. This is what she used to. You want to press charges? No, why would I press charges on a child? So therefore, I got to bring her down to have her understand what just happened. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we bend and break, and the child is looking at us like, damn, I thought you was my mentor. I thought you was here for me. My mother broke. My father broke. My grandmother broke. Now you come in my life and you break. There's no consistency. Right. And I believe you said that earlier. Yeah, it's about consistency. And that's the main thing. It's like when you're making your spaghetti. You know what I mean? Like the consistency of that sauce. Right. You know?
Well, the one thing I'll say is this, is that if there's no investment, and that's one thing I'm big about, this is me, one thing you can never take back is time. So every time that you have this moment to, you know, invest with a child, use that time wisely, invest that time wisely, and invest that time in a preciously type manner to where you're trying to help build. Because I'm coming from New York. There's been a high rate of young people ages 14 to 18 that's like being railroaded from school to prison pipeline. I've seen kids at 14, 18 being railroaded from out in the streets, wherever they're from, in a jail at such a high, alarming, disproportionate rate. And it's like, that's insane. And you're seeing that out here too in Bridgeport. It's like, there is a way. But we have to be the big people in terms of, you know, standing up to the true pressure of a system that's corrupted. Right. You know what I mean? So we can't be all guerrilla type and act tough around each other. We need to act tough when it really matters the most to stand up to what's really going on in the world that we live in that's crooked. So we have to really show that don't invest that time or money into jail. Invest the money and time into building those schools, building up community centers, building up leagues for sports, building up different trade schools, training programs for kids to like really do hands-on learning, to really apply to themselves and feel like, you know what, that there is hope out there besides jail, because that's all they see is North Avenue Correction Facility.
Right across the street from the high school.
That's what I'm saying. That's
so you made something, right? You said something. You said build these schools and things of that nature, but you also said something prior to us getting on. You got to put the right people in these places.
I agree.
I worked in the school system.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So some of these individuals, and they may be good or whatever the case may be, but they're not good for our people.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So therefore they get there, they get a check, and they don't have. So I used to tell the kids or the teachers, because I mostly work with white individuals.
Right.
And it's nothing wrong, but if you don't have it's two different worlds. I always tell this to these people. There's two different worlds. And if you don't have an understanding of where these kids coming from, it doesn't matter where you came from. If you don't have an understanding with you would bump heads every time. Every single time. So you talked about putting the pipeline. So I was 22 years old, right? I went to jail when I was like 21, 22. I did my 30th birthday party right here when I came home. Okay. You know what I mean? I did 7, came home, did my 30th birthday party right here. But you know, they passed me in high school because I was a problem child.
Right.
So at 20-something years old, I didn't know how to read and write. I went to prison to learn how to read and write. Now think about this. Prison didn't show me. I was just tired of being tired.
Yeah.
And not being able to write my wife or my girlfriend or my kids and stuff. I couldn't do it. My family, my mother, it was hard for me.
Right.
So I just started picking up books. You know what I'm saying? Picking up books. And that's another thing. We don't read. We don't read. We don't know what's going on. I was watching something about and our culture. We don't know. A lot of people don't know their culture. That's why
that bugs me out. Like
a lot of people don't know their culture.
That bugs me out. Like when I see people not knowing who they are. Like for example, like if I hear someone say I'm Puerto Rican but I'm not black, I'm like, yes you are. Like know your history. Like I hear someone that say, that's brown skin saying, I'm Portuguese and Indian. I'm like, okay, but you're black because in your DNA. Like, celebrate and embrace who you are. Like, I'm not saying that there's not people that's not mixed. That's given. But I'm saying is that you have to embrace who you are. God didn't make no mistakes in how He created people. Yeah. It's the people that make mistakes because of this preconceived notion of hatred of something that's not even right. First of all, so it's important for young people to know who they are and identify with their culture, their ethnicity, what's their background, what's the music, the food. Like, what is the understanding of who you are? Because there's beauty in every kind. And I said this before and I say it again. There's only one race. That's the human race. And the thing that I'm seeing that some parents are teaching their kids is to hate other folks that don't look like you. But I'm like, why would you teach that? That's what creates separation in itself. That creates division in itself. And there's a lot of like animosity towards each other of something that's based off lies and distorts the whole truth. Yeah. Right now, one thing that's missing right now is love. That's what's lacking, is love. If you don't love God first, if you don't love your family, your kids, if you don't know how to love people, how you going to accomplish the goal in terms of what's the atrocity and what's the task at hand that we need to focus in on.
Right. I think a lot of times we miseducated. So I always use this, like, you know what I'm saying? I know if I come in and I turn that light on, turn that switch on, I know the light gonna come on.
Right.
But do I have an understanding of the ACs and DCs that hit the electric this and electric that? I don't know that. I don't have an understanding of that. And I think a lot of things we don't have an understanding. We just think we know something, but don't have an understanding. And we have to get deeper into this. And it goes back to mentoring. It goes back to school. It goes back to separation. All this play a role in why things are so messed up with our youth. Because one is right after the other, in my opinion.
Right.
And if you don't get that understanding of what's going on with these individuals, and listen, dudes my age, I say it all the time, I failed. I failed when I was coming up. I truly failed. You know what I'm saying? I didn't teach these young boys to go to school.
Right.
They said they wanted a bundle. I gave them a bundle. Come on, I'm out here. Why you can't get no money with me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot that goes with this, and we have to greater understanding.
I mean, there's a lot that goes to that, but it's not. But however, it's never too late to reconcile differences, acknowledging one's transgressions. And I think there's a lot of places that kids need to go to really help them feel safe. Church, for example, schools, for example. You have after-school programs. So there's things that's there that we have to tap into deeply. Forums, assemblies. There's things out there that we need to tap into even more deeper and say, you know what? The young people must represent today's future. As I said it before, and I say it again. Young people represent today's future. You know what I mean? And if we're not showing them that they represent the future as far as prosperity, then we as adults are no better.
Right.
And we're not showing them that there's a way out.
Right.
There's a way out.
Yeah.
And listen, with that being said, we're going to do a part 2 because it's over time, so I definitely want to finish off a good thought. But let's do a part 2. We're going to be right back. You're listening to MVP Most Valuable Poet, being politically correct. Be right back.
That was dope.
That was dope.
Yes, indeed, y'all. Yes, indeed. Welcome to UDR Productions. Please like, subscribe, and share. It doesn't cost you nothing to subscribe, so we can keep bringing you guys all this good content from prayer to streets. UDR Productions. Let's go and let's get it.